guys, welcome back to Scott Family Homestead. Today I'm going to show you what I do early in the week to get ready for a week's worth of lunches so that we have some easy grab and go foods from things that we've grown here on the farm. So I'm going to talk about first doing some hard-boiled eggs in the Instapot, and then we're going to talk about a really simple recipe for making 2 loaves of bread, and then we're going to switch the Instapot over to a yogurt maker, and with that we're going to take a gallon of our raw milk and turn it into about 2.5 to 3 quarts of yogurt for the week. A lot of that we make into smoothies. And then while some of this stuff is processing, I usually chop up a whole bunch of vegetables to have a big veggie tray for the week. And that is how I prepare every either Sunday or Monday, depending on what our schedule looks like. And so we have some easy grab and go options. So first I'm going to start with hard-boiled eggs. Now I've done this a bunch of different ways with farm fresh eggs. If you're familiar, it can be really hard to peel them. So I found that steaming them worked pretty well, but we still had a little bit of issue. I have since switched to using my Ninja Foodi to make my hard-boiled eggs, and they peel like a dream. You can take fresh eggs from the coop and cook them in the Instapot, and it will be perfect. They peel perfectly. So I'm going to show you how I do that. This unit here is the Ninja Foodi 12-in-1. It's an 8-quart, so it's the big guy, and I can do a lot of different things in here. Typically for appliances to be in my kitchen, they have to do more than one thing. So this appliance is an air fryer, it's a pressure cooker, you can make yogurt in it, you can bake in it, and we've gotten rid of our microwave and replaced it with this, and I use this multiple times a week. It can also be used as a slow cooker. Like I said, it's a 12-in-1, so it has 12 different options on the front. This is what we're going to use for our eggs today. In a single layer, I can fit 18 eggs in here. So we put our little rack in there. We add 1 cup of water. And then these are washed eggs that I have. I'll show you some of these colors. I get 18 eggs put in here. Now with the Ninja Foodi, it has 2 separate tops, so you're going to take your pressure cooking top and put it on seal. Try to do this backwards. You're going to have it set to seal, and we're going to come around the front here. I'm going to do pressure setting on high, and we're going to do 4 minutes. Some people do 5 minutes, but I find that I really prefer it at 4 minutes. And we're going to press to start. So this is going to pressure cook it for 4 minutes, and then you're going to let it do a natural release for 5 minutes, finish releasing it, and then we'll put it into ice water. Okay, so the pressure cooker is going with my eggs. I'm going to go ahead and get started on my double loaves of bread. So I use a very simple recipe and a very simple process. I know there are some people that are really into making bread and have more elaborate setups, especially if you're getting into sourdough, but I'm talking super basic white bread recipe. I use organic flour from Azure, and I feel like this is a better option than anything that I can buy at the store for my kids, and they take sandwiches in their lunches. So I try to do this at least once a week. This is directed more at beginners and people who are just starting making bread, or somebody who's going to do this often and needs to be able to do it quick. So if you're a busy mom or a busy dad, this is a great recipe to go with because you can do it very quickly and have a really high quality bread. So we're going to start with yeast. I buy my yeast in bulk and I just replace it into this container. But any fast rise yeast will work. So you're going to take 4.5 teaspoons of this, or if you're using the packets, that's 1 packet. And take 1/4 cup of sugar and then 2¼ cups of warm water. You want this to be about 110 degrees. So if you're brand new at this, use a thermometer and just make sure you're kind of in that range, and then feel the water. And you'll get used to it, and you'll be able to take it from the faucet at the right temperature as you practice more with it. So lukewarm, but not too hot. If it's too hot, it's going to kill your yeast. So we're just going for like a lukewarm water. And you're going to let these 3 ingredients sit for about 5 minutes, and you'll see it start to get kind of foamy. So at this point, I'm waiting for this to get nice and foamy. and I'm waiting for my eggs. So I'm gonna go ahead. I don't have a lot of vegetables because I haven't been in the store in a while, but I'm gonna cut up some carrot sticks and celery sticks so that when my kids ask for snacks, I've got something that's just ready to go for them. And this just helps with my week too. If I want to make something that has carrots or celery in it, it's already half cut up and I can just chop it a little bit more. So I find a lot of value in doing this early in the week. So I'll do all of this celery and probably most of these carrots. I'll just fit this into the in-between time when I'm sitting waiting for something else to be done in the kitchen. With this, I don't worry about getting every little bit. These will either go to feed the rabbits or the chickens. Okay, it's been 5 minutes. Let's see if I can show you what this looks like. See how it's really nice and foamy in there? This is where I really start to break all of the bread making rules. I only use a dough hook to mix. I don't mix with the regular mixer and then add the dough hook afterwards. This does just fine. So we're gonna do a 1/4 cup of oil. I use avocado oil. You can use any oil that you like. I use avocado oil because I use it for a lot of things. It has a really high smoke point, so I use it for like seasoning all of my cast iron and everything, and it's just easier to buy it in bulk, so I buy it by the gallon from Azure. We're gonna do 1 tablespoon of salt. I use the Redmond's fine salt. And now we're gonna start mixing in the flour. This is another point where I deviate from what a lot of people deem is acceptable. This takes 6 cups of flour. I'm going to start with about 5.5 and kind of go by texture and see how it goes. I don't like nicely measure out my flour because I'm going for quick and easy here and I've never had it not turn out yet, so this is how we go. You can do it however you like. I'll put a couple of cups in there. My eggs just finished on the pressure cooker part, so I'm letting it depressurize for about 5 minutes, so I have that long to get this mixed up. And we'll just slowly start mixing it. Lock your mixer. About 1/2. Now I'm going to let this go for about 8 minutes. Since it has the dough hook on it, it should be just fine to just run for 8 minutes. I'll keep an eye on it and make sure nothing's coming out of the pan or causing any major issues. If it looks really sticky, I'll add just a little bit more flour. So you can see it's already starting to come together pretty good. I've passed my 5 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and vent this. Not a whole lot left, and I'm going to grab ice water. Okay, so it's been vented. I have some ice water. I'll go ahead and open this up. Always away from you, so you don't get any of the steam. And then we're just going to go ahead and grab these out and put them right into our ice water. Okay, you can see it's sticking to the bottom just a little bit. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of flour. Let it go for about 1 minute longer. I'm going to grab a bowl and put just a little bit of oil in here. So I've got a greased bowl. Okay, this is the texture that I usually go for, where it is sticky but not too terrible. It'll stick to the bottom of the bowl a little bit. This will make a really nice soft bread. Now you've got some options here for raising your bread. My oven has a proofing option where it'll keep it at about 100 degrees if you want it to go a little bit faster, or you can set it next to a wood stove, or it will raise on your counter. Unless it's exceptionally cold in your house, if you don't want it on an exterior wall or something like that, it's gonna rise. You're waiting for it to double in size. You're gonna see it get really nice and poofy. As long as it is raising and doubling in size, it doesn't really matter how long it takes. So I'm just gonna let it sit here on the counter. I'll put a towel over it. I'll wait 60 minutes and then it should be good to go. Okay, I'm moving this to a more convenient spot because when you make yogurt, it's going to be an all-day process when you do it in the Instant Pot. So I'm going to put it over here next to the stove. I have just my insert with nothing else in it, and I'm going to put a gallon of milk in here. This is today's. It was milked about an hour ago and then cooled down. When making yogurt, you want to use the freshest you can just so that there's less chance of contamination of any sort. So this is brand new milk. I don't skim it, I just use the full fat milk. Just put the whole gallon in there. We're gonna put this on the yogurt setting. For 8 hours. You will use your pressure cooking lid, but this time you're going to put it on vent. That's really all it takes, so it's going to boil it and then it's going to cool it. After it is done cooling, it's going to beep at you. You'll add a culture in. For a gallon of milk, I use 1/3 of a cup of yogurt. So either a yogurt that I previously made or a plain yogurt from the grocery store. Put 1/3 of a cup in there and then it will ferment for 8 hours. And at the end of that, you will have nearly a gallon of yogurt. You will have some whey. I like to strain mine so that it thickens up a little bit. I usually end up with about 2.5 quarts to 3 quarts. And then you have the whey, which we give to our pigs, but you could also use that for other things as well. So this is going to be an all-day project. You want to start this early enough in the morning that you're not up into the middle of the night waiting for this to finish. Or do it in the evening so that it can ferment overnight, and then you can get it at that point. You can let it go much longer. It just gets a little bit more of that sour taste to it, and my kids don't like that quite as much. We use a lot of these for smoothies, and I add fruit and then a little bit of maple syrup, and the kids really like that. So that can make up for some of the tartness. We're waiting for our bread to rise. This is boiling, and then it's going to cool. That takes a couple of hours to fully cool down, so I don't have to do much with that. I'm going to put my eggs in the fridge. I did have a couple that split. I'll take one. So this one is not split at all. And I'll just show you how easy it comes off. It is literally just the easiest way. It's just the easiest way to make hard-boiled eggs and not have to fuss with the shells at all. So highly recommend if you have an Instant Pot or a Ninja Foodi, you should give it a try. So I also have my veggies all chopped up. Normally I would have miniature cucumbers and sweet peppers, broccoli, some other things, but like I said, it's been a while, so this is going in the fridge. And both of these are ones kids love. So if kids are starving and they can't wait for dinner, they can have some of these, or they can have a hard-boiled egg. By the end of the day or early tomorrow, I will have smoothies. I put them in 4-ounce bottles, and then they can grab those anytime that they would like as well. For reference, to get to this point, it has taken me about 40 minutes of working in the kitchen. Now it's just going to be simple tasks from this point forward throughout the day. Less than 40 minutes in the kitchen, and we have gotten 18 eggs, we've got our yogurt started, and we've got 2 loaves of bread started. And we've got an entire tray of veggies put into the fridge. I'll keep you guys updated when it's time to do something with the bread, and we'll check on the yogurt. All right, here we go. We've got our bread has raised. Probably could have used a bigger bowl. So you're gonna punch this down. It's honestly the best part of making bread. I'm going to lightly flour a little area here and dump out the bread. There we go. Now I don't overwork this too much. I'll put like a little bit of flour on it and just kind of get the air out of it. And we're going to form a ball. Try to make it kind of even. You don't need any special tools. I use this one, but you can just use a knife. or use your hands to split it. I have these non-stick pans, but I find that they're not totally non-stick, so I'm going to add a tiny bit of oil to each one. We're going to go ahead and shape this into a loaf like this, and if you have any spots where there's little folds or creases, you can just pinch it together. I really don't do anything super fancy. Just pinch it together, it makes a nice loaf. If you have like a big crease on the bottom, you might get that in your final product, but a lot of times it grows together. So again, if you're just starting out, just give it some time and keep trying. You'll find what works for you. But really this part where you're shaping the dough, it's really not a super difficult process. So once we have two ovals, we're just going to center them in our pans. And mine aren't always even either. So sometimes I have one loaf that's a little bit bigger than the other. That's okay too. Alright, that looks pretty good. Go ahead and put that in there. We're going to let this rise for another hour. And about 45 minutes into that, you can go ahead and start preheating your oven. We're going to bake this at 375 for 30 minutes. The yogurt is cooling, so it's done its boiling portion. Now it's cooling. That does take a little while, and then it'll start beeping at me when it's ready for the culture to be put in, and so I will go ahead and do that when it's time for that. I will link in the comments if you want to make yogurt from an heirloom culture, like a room temperature culture where you're not using the thermophilic cultures where you have to heat it like this. I do have a video all about that, and it actually talks about the difference a bit between using a heated method and an air temperature method. I will link that video in the description for you guys. But otherwise, we're just waiting for something to beep at me and tell me we're ready for the next step. Check out these fluffs. All right, I'm gonna put them in the oven and bake them for 30 minutes at 375. All right, there they are. Two beautiful loaves of bread. My guess is the kids are gonna cut into this and we'll probably have half a loaf gone within the hour, but there it is. Two beautiful loaves ready for the week. Okay, it's telling me it's time, so I'm gonna add, this is just some chobani, and we're just gonna stir this in lightly. Since that's gonna go late into the evening, I'm gonna show you how we make our smoothies with some of my yogurt left over from last week.
Thanks.
Okay, we're gonna use our homemade yogurt to make some smoothies. So I have frozen blueberries, frozen strawberries, and then we've got our yogurt here in deli containers. We use a Ninja food processor for this. It works really, really great. So we're gonna put in some of this fruit. I'm gonna do about half of it. About a quart at a time. So I'm gonna take this yogurt. It has a little bit of liquid to the top. That's okay. Go ahead and pour the whole thing in there. And then our last ingredient is maple syrup. So I put a little bit of this in there, especially depending on what fruit you're using. Or you could use honey or another sweetener. We just happen to make quite a bit of maple syrup. So maybe like a tablespoon? And then we'll taste it and see how we like it. Now we're going to take this, and I have these little small containers. They are 4 ounces, and the kids love these in their lunch or they have them for breakfast. And so we'll go ahead and fill these up with a little funnel.
Yep.
All right, so we got 16 smoothies. He's drinking one right now, and the rest of these will all go in the fridge for grab-and-go snacks. So we have a child who has been on prophylactic antibiotics for a very long time, and so keeping smoothies and some kind of probiotic option for him available at all times has been really helpful. So he can have these anytime that he wants. They do have some sugar because of the fruit and the syrup, but I would rather have them having these than like a cracker type snack. So these are available to them anytime that they want, and they go through these pretty quickly. Another thing you can do for this that's really a way to kind of sneak some more nutrients and vitamins in there, you can add kale powder or spinach powder or something like that. You could also use fresh veggies, but since we do a lot of that in our freeze dryer, the kale, and I powder it, you can add, I usually do like a tablespoon or so into a quart of yogurt, and that's a little way to sneak some in there. It will turn it a greenish color, but the kids don't notice the taste at all. Now we've got all of these awesome smoothies for the kids, and they're going to be really pumped to find this in the fridge. Thanks for joining me today. I'm so happy you are here. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. I hope you found today's video to be useful and maybe inspirational to kind of get a kickstart into the week so that you've got some things ready to go. I know it's really helpful for me to do this early in the week and make my days just a little bit easier. Thank you for being here, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.